And we're live.
Are we?
Bonjour,
Already?
bonjour. Yeah, I think so. I think we're live. Yes.
Whoa!
Yes, sir.
Ça allait vite aujourd'hui, mon gars. Let's go.
Today, my friend, we're live from Germany. We are live from Nuremberg.
Nuremberg.
Nuremberg. I want to eat the hamburger.
Au Uninet Nuremberg headquarters.
Yeah, they're famous for la piste numbering.
Mhm.
C'est
Le Nürburgring.
le Nürburgring, c'est la piste de course.
Yes.
Puis,
Right.
ouais, ici, il n'y a pas de... sur les autoroutes, il y a des autoroutes sans... on va dire ça. There's the
Autobahn.
the Autobahn, yeah. The Autobahn, there's no speed limit. Tu peux rouler à 500 km, si tu veux.
Ça, c'est un sujet parfait pour nous le mercredi pour le Winner's Wednesday, mon chum.
Exactly.
L'autobahn with no
Exactly.
speed
We
limit.
take our Porsche, and we go on the Autobahn and we blast 300 kilometers an hour.
C'est sick.
That's it,
sick,
man. Hey,
bro.
one day, soon you're gonna come meet me here, puis on va
Ben
aller
oui, il
cruiser
faut.
sur l'autoroute.
Il faut, parce qu'on veut laver des vitres en Allemagne.
Yeah, we got
On veut
somebody
aller
in the
laver des
live.
vitres en
We
Allemagne.
got somebody. Hey, Kevin, comment ça va?
Kevin, comment est-ce qu'il
Yes,
va,
sir,
mon
my friend.
boy?
Thank you so much, man, for supporting the channel. I appreciate it.
On t'aime,
Very
on t'aime,
much.
mon Kev. On se rejoint tantôt après pour continuer de travailler.
My table is a bit shaky today, guys, so don't mind me. I'm like I said, I'm not. This is not my usual office space, and my girlfriend apparently she doesn't have any screwdrivers, so her fucking desk is shaking. We have to go buy her screwdrivers so I can.
On va quand même te donner le bénéfice là, pour être peut-être connecté.
But that's what I'm here
pour
for,
traverser
right?
le Portugal puis l'Allemagne puis
That's what
d'être
boyfriends are
connecté.
for, right? I guess that's my job to fix these.
Yes, I was hearing you a little earlier. Babe, t'as-tu ta l'outil? Babe, do you have an Allen key? I was like, isn't that your job, bro? Like,
Yeah, but
that's your job to go get it?
I ask her for a screwdriver. She brings me one screwdriver, a star screwdriver. How do you know I don't need a flathead or a square? And then I'm like, okay, bring me an Allen key, the hexagon key. She comes with just one size. But I pray that it's the right size, and it wasn't.
Oh no, man.
So now we gotta go buy the screwdriver. But it's fine, man. We're here. You can hear me okay. You can see me okay.
100%. Better than Portugal, bro. Better than Portugal.
Really?
You're getting ripped off, like, at some point.
Shit. But what's better? The connection? I feel like it's the lighting because my girlfriend has the equipment. She has the better lighting and stuff. But I feel like
just as we said that, you lagged for like a second. So we're just gonna.
I probably touched the desk. I probably touched the desk and the desk moved, and you thought it was the internet.
Oh my god, bro! One day, guys. One day we're gonna be equipped. Ça va être malade, ce podcast.
Yeah, but for now we're okay, man.
For now, you hear our voice, you see our faces, and that's pretty much okay. That's good enough for us.
It's already dark over here, guys. It's already so we're 1 hour ahead from Portugal. So now we're 6 hours different.
Okay.
Là, il est 6h45 maintenant, PM. So yeah.
And is it like fall like in Quebec, in Germany? Like, is it like
c'est exactement, man. La température, le vibe, les rues, c'est identique comme Montréal, man. C'est comme, mettons comme centre-ville Montréal, Vieux-Port, c'est comme ça, mais partout.
Okay.
C'est comme le Vieux-Port, mais partout.
Wow.
Genre les vieux, it's beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful country. Amazing architecture. Clean. Les rues sont propres. Il n'y a pas un déchet par terre. Puis they take care of it. They take care of the cities. There's no potholes. There's no like, like as soon as there's something that breaks over here, they fix it right away.
You hear that, Valérie Plante? You hear that, Valérie?
Les barricades.
Are you in there?
You know les barricades? I have to take a picture and show you this tomorrow. Tu sais les barricades que comme les organisateurs commandent, like they order the barricades for like events and they block the streets. I've never seen a high-tech barricade, bro. The barricades that they attach and they remove, You know the ones we have in Montreal? They're like these little piece of metal, like
Wow.
bro. The ones over here, they're like built in, equipped with like reflectors. I can't explain it, but they're a high quality steel. It looks like they're fixed. It looks like they're fixed barricades for how good the quality is. But you could tell they snap in and you can take them out. Anyways. I don't want to take up too much time explaining to you. I'll take a picture and I'll show you tomorrow.
No,
That's what I
it's
can put the.
chill. It's interesting, bro, because it's nice to have different perspective on different cities, and I guess like for our listeners, it could be interesting to know how other city do it and when and propose other type of services to their residents, bro. Like it could be interesting. I think it's pretty interesting to know that the is being taken care of, like it's very clean. It's interesting for me. And when we were talking about this, like I think a year back, tu me parlais de l'Allemagne, and it
It
gave me
opens
the
your
idea of
mind. It's nice
yeah.
that I get
I
to,
was
that I
like,
get to. It's
why
like I
are
get to report live from all these cities across the world, across Europe, and I'm just feeding information to you guys. It's pretty cool.
it
That
is?
one day I'm in Portugal, one day I'm in Spain, one day I'm in Germany, and I'm just giving you information on how the city is. Spain is also very, 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 very clean. In Sevilla, man, wow, totally clean, well taken care of. The architecture beautiful, and it's like it's like they never tore down the old buildings to build new skyscrapers here. It's as if they kept the history, they kept the culture intact, and they just keep it clean. And when
Hmm.
something breaks, they fix it, but they keep the old building, l'apparence of the old building. They keep the appearance of the old building, but they just keep it clean constantly. It's really really nice to see. Anyways, tomorrow when it's gonna be sunny, I'm gonna FaceTime you from outside. I'll show you. I'll show you
Yeah,
around.
we want to see that. Okay.
Yeah, but it's nice to give
So
that perspective. Honestly, it really opens
yeah,
up your mind. It opens up your mind when you travel and you visit different
I was
places,
I was thinking
and it
about
makes you
invading that.
it makes
I,
you like be one to talk when it comes to certain things about your city. It's like I could talk. I could actually talk about some stuff in Montreal, the potholes. That they don't take care of the city in certain ways. So some ways they do, like with the bike paths. Oh my god, they they take care of the bike paths. But other things
oh
like
yeah, in Germany
fixing the
they do.
streets, the pothole. Over here, they take care of everything. They take care of everything. The streets are nice. The buildings are nice. There's no trash on the floor. And
So imagine for a company in Montreal looking for jobs and not like like materializing any opportunities, or it could be Montreal, or it could be anywhere else. Maybe there's opportunities for these companies elsewhere.
what do you mean
Maybe
by that?
you were talking about these cities that keeps everything clean. If I have the equipment, I don't, and I see that in my city, they don't keep anything clean. They don't care. They're not hiring anyone for that, because the whole summer that's what we've seen, right? I've seen the parks being like the long grass, not being cut. They kept it as is for a long time at the beginning of the summer, for the sake of I don't know what, but it was not
Why
kept
do you think
clean.
that is?
Well, they said because of the bees, they wanted to, provide a safe place for the bees. But at some point, I think it really looked horrible, especially the center, like the middle of the road. They were not cutting the middle of the road there, so it just looked horrible. I know they're doing that to save some money, but at some point, like, what do we look like? I know
Hey,
that.
but that's an excuse I could get behind. If you're telling me it's to save the bees, man, bees are important for the ecosystem. We need our bees, right?
I
That's
think
something
there should
I could
have
get behind.
a better organisation, une meilleure organisation de ça aurait pu être faite. Il aurait pu au moins garder les centres, faire les centres, faire comme une meilleure. Ils ont juste dit non, coupe aucun grass. No grass will be cut. It was clearly a budget cut. Ils voulaient en même temps de dire ça comme yes, it's for the bees, but it was also for the budget cut.
Okay, but the excuse is good though. A lot of people will be like,
Yeah, the
okay,
excuse pretty
that
good.
makes sense. That makes sense.
But that was not the topic of today, dude. That was more a topic for like Friday. But I wanted to talk about what we said last week on Winners Wednesday parce que c'était vraiment intéressant. Euh, on parlait de sous-estimer la quantité d'efforts, d'énergie, de temps et d'argent que ça prend pour faire quelque chose.
Oui.
Puis ce que ça crée dans notre esprit. Puis on parlait de ça la semaine passée, puis on n'avait comme pas fini le sujet. Mais c'était tellement intéressant que je m'étais pris des notes pour continuer cette semaine. Puis vu que le temps file, je vais skipper rapidement vers ça, George. Mais ce qu'on disait la semaine passée, what we were saying, underestimating the time effort makes you adopt a kind of like a quitter posture. You know, your back seems to like go round, and dans ta voix, le client, les gens autour de toi, les collègues vont le sentir. They could sense that. But on the opposite, it seems like if you prepare better and you get the market properly, you're gonna feel more confident, and you'll go out and the market will sense that. Que t'as
So you have to
plus
prepare your mindset. Your mind needs to be ready for what you're about to dive into. Because imagine you're diving into this business venture. You're like, oh, it's easy. You're gonna get slapped in the face with a reality check that it's not easy, and it takes a shitload of work and a shitload of effort. And if you're not
yeah,
prepared up here, then you're just gonna, yeah, like you said, you're gonna quit. But if you go in there with the right mentality, like this is going to be hard, this is going to be
yes.
a challenge,
La
and you're
question,
going to
c'est
be
ça.
expecting that you're going to get slapped and punched in the face because you correctly went in with the right mindset. You're like, bro, I'm starting a business here. It's like a baby. I'm raising a baby here. It's not easy. And you go in with that mindset, you're going to get punched and kicked in the face, and you're going to just keep getting back up, and you're going to keep going. You're going to keep going further and further, and you're not going to quit.
So the thing about what we're talking on Wednesday and what we're trying like to explain through the 10x rule, right? We were reading the 10x rule book. C'est ce qui nous a beaucoup inspiré de faire le Winners Wednesday. Si on pourrait dire series of shows, c'était vraiment par rapport au 10x rule parce que nobody really has a system to really to like start a project and assess the amount of efforts, the amount of money, the amount of time. Nobody really knows what it will take. So you start something, you don't really know what it will take. You never did it. Like it's a new project. If you start something, it could be learn a new language. Like how could you know? And even if you got like your best friend telling you, yeah, you're gonna learn a new language, it's hard. Or on the other hand, yeah, you're gonna learn a new language, it's super easy. Learning easy. Like
you're
how
gonna
could
get
you
discouraged.
really know?
Yeah.
How could you really know what it takes? You need
Yeah.
some kind of like benchmark way to start new project and calculate the amount of time. So if yeah, go ahead.
I think it's good for anybody to just start, even if they're underestimating the amount of effort that it takes. And maybe it's good that they get punched in the face, figuratively speaking, that they get slapped in the face with a reality check. And that's maybe good because then it's going to either fight or flight, right? The fight or flight response is going to trigger in their brain. It's either going to be like, oh, no, I can't handle this. And then maybe, okay, maybe you can't. Maybe you can't. Maybe you walk away from it and you think to yourself like, oh, no, I can't handle that. Because that experience gave you that reality check. And that first experience gave you that reality check. And now you know that it's not easy. So now you decide, okay, what do I want to do? Do I want to go back to working my regular job, or do I want to continue and try something else? But knowing that it's not easy now. So
but the thing is, when you don't, I have to like make a point about what you just said, because
sure,
when you start, because I've tried that and we've all tried that, but you need to
Mhm.
be true. Like you need to be like, faut que tu sois honnête avec moi, George. On a tous essayé ça and we started something and we ended up,
Giving
having
up.
a hook or something, like something happened, and we we rethink about things, like we're rationalizing, we're starting to rethink, not throwing the
Second
towel yet,
guess.
but yeah, you're
Yeah.
second guessing, and you're kind of not, you have that attitude coming in, and it's very human, and it's very like your brain, it's like your brain is wired to find the failure, because the failure would just be easier, and that
We're
happens
comfortable.
when.
Look, we as human beings, we're comfortable we like to be comfortable by nature. We don't like to be out of our comfort zone. So back to your point, when you say that we need to go in there with the mindset that it's
You need to
gonna be
estimate.
hard. You're
You need to
absolutely right.
estimate.
You're a one
Estimate
million.
properly.
You're 100% right about that, because then you're gonna get discouraged. You're gonna be like, oh well, I thought it was easy. I guess it's just not easy. Like,
By
so
by
in a way, you're right.
estimation, by
In in,
estimation,
in
guys.
a
What I mean by estimation, I just want to be clear, like, because when I say estimation, people might be like, what does he mean, estimate? By estimation, I mean, if you thought it would take you 100K in marketing to get your product out there, don't think it will take 100K. Take
no,
it.
of course not.
Think more like it would take 10. I don't know, what's 10x? I'm bad at that. C'est 10 fois 100 000, c'est 1 million. Fait que si
Hmm.
ton marketing, si ton projet marketing pour te mettre ton projet en vente ou sur le marché, c'est de 100 000, là, regarde, dis-toi tout de suite, ça va te coûter 1 million. With all the fees,
Wait,
with all the stuff.
say that again.
Okay, so if your initial thought on your budget for, let's say, a marketing project, or let's say your initial thought for this year, I'm gonna give you my personal goal. Me and Kev, when we started the business at the beginning, when we were together, we were not. We both had jobs. Kev was working at Pepsi. I was working as a. I was already working. I was okay, and we started on the side. And I remember me and him talking about, OK, mais on avait un contrat, je me souviens plus, je pense que c'était camion Volvo. We had a contract, and we had to start the business now, because the contract, we had a reference, and they were ready to hire us now. We ended up not having that contract, but we started the business because, like, we had to just like do the quote now, and these guys would like want to have an incorporated company. So we just inked the company right away. And I remember making figures about what's the plan, how much it's gonna cost, and everything. And the initial plan was, we're gonna make $100,000 this year, the first year. And I was like, okay, so the goal is 100K. And Kev was like, yeah, 100K would be nice, because 100K, you just started, right? So 100K is fine. We'll be fine with that. It's like, okay, 100K. I was like, so the goal needs to be 1 million then. And I remember, like, he looked at me, he's like, eh. And I said, yeah, the goal needs to be a
He couldn't
million.
grasp it. He couldn't grasp it.
Yes. So we
But
ended up.
could one get that muscle? Could one like not grasp it at the beginning, but then actually eventually get that muscle? I keep thinking, is it like
You
a
need to try
character?
it. You need to try to
Is it a
believe it for
character
yourself.
thing,
Well,
or can
yes,
we
because
all
it becomes
unlock
very
it?
scary. It becomes very scary as you unfold it, because that's what happened. I said, we said, me and Kev, 100K. 100K for the first year. Like, we started, like, we had no paperwork done. And I was like, okay, 100K would be fine. We ended up doing 225. But our brain couldn't grasp the 100K at the beginning. I was just like saying, 100K, whatever, we'll see. If I kept it at 100K, I would have probably done like 60 or 75 because me and Kev took it at the beginning more as a side thing with a beer in our hand. On chillait, là. C'était pas quelque chose qu'on allait comme faire nécessairement exploser, mais quelque chose qu'on allait utiliser plus pour comme ouvrir le tap. Once there's jobs, we're going to open the tap, go work, be able to invoice and come back home. That's it. There was no goal. But just by setting the target at like, okay, we're saying 100K initially 100K, but let's make figures for $1 million and be
because then
and
it
go
opens
crazy.
up your brain.
Yes.
Even though it's a super high number, and and you might think that it's crazy to imagine
For the
making
first
those
year,
numbers.
yeah.
Your brain is just gonna open up and it's gonna say, okay, how can we do it? Not we can't do it. How can we do it? How can we go get it? And you're just gonna start. Your brain is wired. Our brains are wired like that. They're gonna start thinking of ways of how we can actually make it happen. And then, okay, look, even if you don't make that number, even if you don't make the number that you set out to make, you're gonna make much higher.
Yeah,
because your target was a lot higher.
Could you imagine? Our first target initially was $100,000. We ended up making $125
Revenue or profit?
more.
Revenue, right?
Revenue
in sales.
Revenue.
100K in sales. Okay.
Sales. We ended up scoring. I'm not gonna say which contracts we ended up getting on our first year, but on our first year, we ended up with 2 major companies, Montreal companies, getting us. Like we did a few here and there's, and after a couple months, we scored 2 major deals with multiple staff to hire and like, but 2 guys our age with our experience wouldn't get that if it wasn't for the target. I'm telling you right now, the target was so high. I was like, yeah, you got 225. Yeah. We started that we made 225 because our year end is on the October 31st. Well, we scored a $250,000 a year contract like on August, and we started in September. So these figures were not even on the first year; they were on the second one. And the second one, we did double. So we did double on the. We kept on track. So the year after, we upped the target a little, but it's, bro, we really picked it up from the ground up, like literally.
Because you think about it, you think about this crazy number, but in reality, it's like you said, you could just get one massive client, and already it takes you 75% to your goal just with one client. So like you really have to set up your targets super high, because you'll always reach higher than what you previously would have reached.
You start with that. You should rather focus, because most people, you know what's crazy? Most people first response when they feel like things are getting unattainable would be to lower the targets. And we've seen that. You and me, we've been in sales places and they lowered the target to win.
So we talk about expectation. So I find it contradicts each other a little bit. Let me get this out. So we want to manage the expectation in our brain of how much effort is going to be required, but then we also want to set massive goals that we know deep down we might not even hit, but we put them anyways because setting high goals is good and it's going to get us to our highest potential.
Yes, because you live, you learn, and because you've settled for $1 million. So I've settled for $1 million. I've had throughout the year $1 million problems. Because like I said, I scored a one-time contract, $250,000 a year contract on my first year in business. That was too much for us. Amazing. Way too much. But the value was not in the contract, because I'm not even going to tell you how much we were charging. Those were revenues. I haven't told you because the profit was so thin. We made profit, but it was very thin because we were learning along the way. But it didn't matter. We learned the value is 100% in all that we've learned in these 6 floors, 100,000 square feet of floorings and bathrooms in every floor and dishes to wash every night, 7 days a week. We had 6 to 12 people working every night, and we were in our first year in business. We were not one man shows, but we were two young guys, and we were learning along the way. And we've had hires that were more experienced than us, and we had to, figure out ways to get respected and have some credibility in front of those people. You learn along the way, and we learned so much that I could say now that the way we set up our targets really set up for the rest of our future, because now we know how to set up targets that we don't care if we don't hit. Even if you hit the like 1/4 of your target, like I doubled up every year. I didn't have that as a target. I was not thinking about doubling up. I was thinking about 10xing.
We're thinking
So I
about
was thinking,
10xing up.
yes, so doing times 10. but if you're doing times 10 and along the way, that's the major problem. That's the major mistake. You're doing 10x. You've set yourself a target for 1 million. You're on your way to work, and you realize, hey, I've set the target in October, and now it's August, and I'm at $200,000. I might mishit my target. I should reduce my target. No, you don't, fool.
You should raise
No,
it
you
even higher.
don't. No, you increase your actions. You do what you
Yeah,
can
good
before
point.
the end to meet the target. Maybe, and maybe you're going to hit it, and maybe you won't. But once you realize you might not hit it, now is not the time to throw away the
To
towel and
stop.
be like, okay, guys, we're going to settle for 300K this year and have our little vacances and have our little thing, a little, I don't know, on se paye la vacance dans le sud si on a if the target is not hit, the target is not hit. And if we need to like hit 800K, si c'est 1 million, c'est 1 million. Si c'est 800 000, c'est 800 000. And you go for the sky and you show up. That's the only way to win. Otherwise, you're slowing yourself down. Tu vas faire, OK, non, j'y vais pas pour 1 million finalement cette année, j'y vais pour 300 000. Tu vas arrêter de from August to October. Your end year is 31st of October. August, you're saying, no, I won't hit that target this year. You got two
No,
types
instead of
of
doing that, keep pushing, and look for ways of what
keep
can we do
pushing.
better?
My
What can we do
thinking,
better?
George, would be,
What can we do better?
we need
How can we add more actions? And what can we do? Can we do more sales calls? Can we hire more people? Can we have better marketing? Can we
How could we fit this in?
what
How
can
could
we
we
do?
fit this
What
in? We
can
were
we do
doing
with
60
what we
calls a
have?
day, 80 calls a day. That didn't work. That brought us to 200K for the year. Now is the time to find a way to 4x our calls, 6x our emails, and 12x our marketing online, and make sure that everyone sees us, everyone hears about us. So you can't just think about 10x, because 10x was at the beginning of the year. Now you're at the end of the year, you're at 200, you're at what? It's un huitième du non, c'est pas ça, c'est un, si tu as 200 000 de fait, tu es à un cinquième, 1/5 of your goal. You need to I don't know the math. Like right now, I'm not good in math, but I feel like if you're at 1/5 of your goal and you have 2 months left, 3 months left, not even to figure out how to get to a million, you need to more than 10x. You need to do more than that. You need to figure
I
out.
have a question before we finish the live. How important is it to keep your ego in check in business? And
So
can it be detrimental?
so what do you mean?
Like your ego, like you don't get ahead of yourself. You know, like for example, you make like a sale, you make a big sale, and you're like, oh, I'm the best. Your ego, you like does your ego like impact your ability to grow as a team, as a business?
I think you should like.
Because I'm reading this book right now, Ego is the Enemy. Great book, by the way.
But I think you should
And
just ask yourself if you're hitting your
and
targets or not. It's not a question about ego. It's a question about targets. Like, are you hitting your targets or not? Are they hit? Like, you could have the biggest ego in the world. I don't care if you're hitting your targets. Good for you. If you're not hitting targets, like if you're not bringing home the targets, what was the target? If the target was a million, was it hit? No. So why do you have an ego? What is the ego for? Ça vient de où, là? Tu peux pas avoir un ego si
I'm
t'as pas
reading
hit
this
des
book right
targets,
now.
là.
No, so I guess it's a more general question. It's not just about targets. Just a general question. Because I'm reading this book right now, and they give an example of how this guy, um, multi billion-dollar company, and the father passed away, the owner passed away, and the son, 18 years old, got everything. He got all the assets. He got full control of the business, and he crashed it in a few years
Okay, but why did he crash it?
because of his ego.
No, he didn't crash it because of his ego. He crashed it because he didn't have targets. He crashed it because he didn't
Well,
have
that's not.
targets.
Yes, maybe, but no.
No,
But
he
the
didn't
book
have
is
targets.
about but did you read the book?
No, you don't need. I don't need to read the book. I don't need to, because when you have, bro, the kid didn't have targets. That guy, he gave everything to the son. The son didn't. The son goes, what? I have money now. He spent it all.
He spent it all. He spent it
Yeah,
all
he was
living
like,
the high life. So it's not all about targets. I agree with you. With the targets is important and everything, but
he told me he
this
lost
is a bit of a
everything.
it was a bit more of a it was a bit more of a yeah. He lost everything. He lost absolutely
Okay,
everything.
so what was the target
He
then?
kept making mistakes. He kept making the same mistakes over and over again. He didn't learn from his mistakes, and he was very risk taker. He was just gambling. He was gambling. He was just gambling because he's like, oh, let me put 8 million on Chrysler stock, for example, and boom, and he lost. And then they went into a recession, and so he didn't properly manage the whole portfolio, and he lost everything. And the book is about controlling how important it is to control your ego in business, to have your ego in check, to not be too much of a hothead. So that's why I just wanted to ask you that. It's a bit more of a general question, but yeah,
The thing is, you
I just wanted
can't.
to know your opinion.
My opinion is, this person gambled his life. This person didn't have targets because the target was probably to aim at the end of its life to have enough for the rest. So it has something to do with targets, because when you set yourself some target, you always have something to strive for. Always have something to go for. If this
Interesting
kid
point.
received all this money, and I feel like some people might resonate with the story you just told, because it's actually a
So
story
he had
very.
his targets. So listen, so his targets were misguided. Everybody has targets. Everybody should have targets, but this boy's targets were misguided.
What do you
His
mean
targets,
misguided?
his
Misguided.
goal. So he didn't want to follow necessarily in his father's footsteps. His father had one plan for the company. he had different plans for the company. He wanted to become this star in Los Angeles, California. He wanted to become this movie star.
So what was the
And
company selling?
so
What
he
was
was
the
just
company
fucking,
about?
he was just making, I don't
What?
remember. I don't remember, but they don't really talk about much about what kind of company it was. They just the goal that they were trying to make. The point is that it's important to have to keep your ego in check and not
But what do you
be
mean
carried
by
away
ego in
by.
check? I'm just understand. I'm trying to understand what's the c'est quoi le hook avec nous autres? Qu'est-ce qu'on a dit aujourd'hui? Qu'est-ce
So
que tu
so
veux dire avec
you're so
ego in check?
you're okay, so you know what your ego is, right? Your ego. It's like when you get
Yeah,
offended, like your ego is hurt.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah,
like
yeah.
my question is like you could make rash decisions, you can make bad decisions based on your feelings inside. And I guess what the boy did is he put himself before the company. So you should look at the company as like the company is priority, right? The company is first. No matter how my feelings, no matter how I feel, I'm not gonna let the company burn that. Like, you know what I'm trying to say?
So my feeling and how I'm
So
trying to like.
I guess what I'm trying to say is like, I know it's a lot to unpack, but it's like, how important is it to like put your own personal feelings aside for the greater good of your long-term vision?
um Bro,
Like, do
that's
you
a
ever
that's a
did that
deep
ever happen
question.
to you that you were in a you were in a situation where like where it's like, you know what, I'm gonna put my pride aside. This is for Uninet. This is for Uninet. I'm gonna put my personal feelings aside. This is for Uninet, and I'm gonna make my ego take a hit for the greater good.
Yeah, of
It
course.
all comes down to planning. If you think about it, it all comes down to your targets. It all comes down to that. But this boy had his targets, but his targets were misguided and they were not on par with what his father wanted and how his father set it up. So
Listen,
the
if you
whole
if you
company
if you
went crashing.
if you set yourself for like if you set yourself for gambling, you set like if you go out there and you're gambling and you're thinking about yourself only, like in my opinion, you haven't set yourself targets that were high enough because you have all that time for yourself. If you're asking my opinion about the thing, I can't relate because in my head it just doesn't add up. I've set myself targets that were so high, so big, so massive that
But
I
they were
have
also
absolutely
guided. They were
no
also in the right
time to do.
direction, though.
No, I just don't have like time for ego because my ego is in the way sometimes. It's in the way. So if you're asking me, yes, I will put it aside because my ego might be in the way. So I've had instances where I've had ego about things for marketing,
It's
let's
not an
say.
easy thing to do, by the way. Huh? It's not an easy thing
I
to. It's
know
easy to
it's
say, but
not,
it's not easy to do, right?
but you will do it if your target is so high. You will feel like you might miss on a 50K deal or on a 75K savings, or because you're opening your mouth too much. You should also shut up sometimes in meeting, and you should be listening to your coworkers and your partners and your people. Sometimes, yes, your ego might be in your way, but I feel that if you have targets that are big enough, you will really think about more, like more think about, maybe I should shut up. I might shut
Yeah.
up there. I might
Imagine
shut up
losing
there
a
because,
client. Imagine losing a big client because we're pissed at them because of something
yes,
that they did. It's a
because
big
your
client. It's a nice
emotions are
client. They
on
bring
the
in nice profit.
way. Yes. Like, and this, yes,
So
it
how
comes up
important
to,
is it to remove that out of the way and say, you know what? Let me swallow my pride. Let me
bro,
put the
I was
business
thinking
first.
so
I need
hard
this.
because what you asked me was actually, it was deep,
It
but
was a
at the
bit
same
broad.
time,
It,
no, no,
it
it
was a bit
was
of a
deep, but
broad
I was
question.
like, yes, it's a good question. How could you fit that in that thinking? But I was trying to make the math, but now that I think about it, like the only way you could go through that and actually hack your mind, really hack your mind. If someone else is in that situation, you inherit like your father's money, your father's company, and you don't know where to go, what to do.
You become a
If you're
hothead.
that,
You become a hothead. You're like, bro, I could, you know.
not,
But
I
that's
don't
a
know
recipe
about the
for disaster.
hothead,
It just, I
like
could have told you the beginning of that story, but I could have told you the beginning of that story, and you would have already probably been like, okay, yeah, this
I
is a
think that
recipe for
story
disaster.
is a
This kid
nightmare,
has
right?
no.
It has to be a nightmare. Like that
Of course,
story, I don't know if it's a true
the
story,
guy
but
lost everything.
that story has to be the
It's a true
nightmare
story. It's a
that
true story. I'm in the
some
process of
person
reading
might,
it now.
yeah, some person might live that. You know, they might go through the process of living that. So, in my head,
One
if that is
person
the
will
worst,
probably.
if that is the worst case scenario, you should be able to to find a way to fix that case also in your head beforehand. Like, oh, you read that book, that happened to him, that could happen to me also. I could become ego tripping.
Exactly. Isn't
Find
that
these
why
shows.
we read books, right?
So how could I 10x that and have that fixed mindset so I know that I won't become that ego tripping person? Okay, so I'm just gonna read books. I'm gonna get knowledge. I'm gonna go out there and meet 10 more people this week, 20 more people, and by the end of the month I'm gonna try to be with as much people as possible, new people, and in a shorter amount of time, so I don't get too like ego tripping. I don't understand, like I don't get grounded anymore. I don't know, like for some people, like it could be that it could be to go down from their office to the field and the plant or whatever and go talk to some employees. You should have that mindset. If this kid had that mindset and he was sitting down and he was like, okay, I need to put myself some goals down. I need some goals. I can't just gamble my life away. I need to fix that.
So back to your point, like he did have no, but the thing is, he had a good direction. He had a direction. He had goals. He wanted to just he wanted to pull a U-turn and just do a completely different thing.
But what happened?
And I'm still reading the book. Like I'm still in the process of reading it. I'm still unpacking everything myself. But once I finish reading, I'm gonna talk. It's a really, really good book. Ego is the Enemy. Amazing book.
But point is, and we're gonna finish on that because we're
so the guy had
his
the guy had his targets. The guy had his targets.
What was the target? What was the target?
Targets, which is yes, I agree.
But what was the target? I'm just interested.
He wanted to be he wanted to be this big shot celebrity guy. I don't know. I'm not through it yet, but that's what his target was. And so he had his targets, but his targets were just mismanaged, misaligned.
He was not prepared. He was not prepared. You need to be prepared, like your life depend on it. If you want to do something and you want to be big, you need to like do it and do whatever it takes, like your life depend on it, because there's other guys out there in Hollywood, in Beverly Hills, trying to get the next fucking role. You know, like you need to pretend. To me, you know what it was? I'm a family guy. What resonated the most is what someone told me that at some point. You need to act as if you had cameras looking at you all the time, filming what you're doing, and this camera will serve as a tutorial for success for your children and grandchildren.
So wait, you're saying act like you always do, or always actually have cameras?
No, you need to
actually have, or act like
right now, as of right now,
so like that, because then you're gonna be on your. Yeah, okay. Because so you're gonna be on you're gonna be making decisions.
No. You're overthinking it. You need to act, play, pretend as if your life will be a tutorial for your future children and grandchildren to watch it. A tutorial for success, how to build success, how to build a successful company. You need to act as if and play pretend. And you need to claim these pages in history, like claim your place in the history books.
And you know what I will say? Act like you do, but actually have cameras. Actually have cameras.
Bro, look at what we do.
You will learn a lot about yourself just by rewatching our lives. you notice like, oh, I'm fidgeting too much. I'm doing this. You notice stuff about yourself and you fix stuff.
But you know how
because it's always the critic is always the person, right? And again, the ego thing, the ego ties in all the time. You have to put the ego aside and be like, okay, let me be neutral with myself. Let me look at myself. Okay, what can I improve? And you know what? I recommended that David Goggins book to you. Have you read it? Stay hot. The David Goggins book. He says that every morning, wake up, and he's like, if you sound like a little B word, yes. And he's like, every morning, wake up and record yourself how you feel. And then later on during the day, listen to yourself and be brutally honest with yourself. Record yourself every single morning. How do I feel? And then you're going to notice later on that sometimes you sound like a little bitch. Excuse the language. He actually uses those words exactly. And I started doing it.
When people are giving us like those little exercises, I hear that a lot. Like people are like,
actually do them.
You need to do them.
You need do them. They help you completion.
Admit the act of completion. All these little things.
Yeah,
like,
but most people
don't. You've heard about doing your bed or like waking up at 5, doing your bed, taking a shower, whatever. Do it. Like actually do it. Claim it.
Fucking do it.
Make it as your real routine.
And you know what? I will say this. You only have to do it for about 3 to 4 weeks straight. You only have to do it for 3 to 4 weeks straight, because after that, it becomes a habit. After 3 weeks, I think the magic number is 3 weeks of consistently doing it. It becomes an automatic. And you don't do it anymore. It's automatic. That's it.
For people who say like,
one day we're gonna talk about.
I know some people they would say like, yeah, we sound too much. We sound like it's it's too hard. But I'm sorry, and I want to end with this because I am sorry for you who is not able to complete anything, or who's able to just tell me, no, I don't need to do that, Félix. J'ai pas besoin de faire ça. Je sais déjà comment le faire. Je l'ai déjà fait. I've heard that thousands of times. J'ai pas besoin de faire ça. Comme je le sais qu'est-ce que ça va me donner, là. Je vais me sentir mieux. Oui. No, do it. Do it. You need to do it. You need to feel better. Your body needs those W's, guys, because there's no luck. The point I just want to make before we end this live, bro, there's no luck. And even the lucky persons in this earth will tell you that their luck was directly proportional to what they have done, to the amount of actions they've took. Even the ones that won the lottery or whatever, they will tell you, I've bought tickets all my life.
Yeah, exactly. Good point. Yeah.
So please,
they bought tickets their whole life. Yes. So it's luck. It's luck. But the more times you show up, the luckier you get. Right? If you just show up one time, the chances that you get lucky in that one time are like, bro, like 0% almost. Like.
So just keep calling,
man,
guys.
We're at 15.
Pushing. Go get them W's.
We went overboard again, but man, I always enjoy our talks, Phil. I really always enjoy talking to you, bro. And I learn a lot when I talk to you, and I hope you do too.
100%, c'est toujours un plaisir.
Yeah, let's get back to it.
Let's go get them W's, guys.
Guys, take care.
Ciao.
Yes, sir. Ciao.